afternoon. We are Heidi and James, and we have been entrusted to present to you the reading How Firms Capture Value from Innovation, written in 2013 by Sharon D. James, Michael J. Lebling, and Shahal Liu.
This reading focused the use of 4 primary value capture mechanisms. The strategies are used to create difficulties for competitors to imitate your products, but also to enhance the performance of the overall innovation. That way, your product turns out more favourable.
The 4 mechanisms of capturing value are patents, secrecy, lead time, and complementary assets.
The focus on patents. A patent is a set of exclusive rights over a product or process that is granted over a new invention.
The focus on secrecy. The use of the value capture mechanism secrecy implies the internal use of policies and procedures to ensure that the valuable information and resources remain knowledge only to those who the company wishes to know.
The focus on lead time. Lead time is about being the first mover within your industry.
The focus on complementary assets. Complementary assets are those things that remain internal in a company to enhance and complete the innovation.
The focus on patents and secrecy together. There are aspects of innovation such as codifications that are complex to patent, so to protect themselves, firms will use secrecy to not reveal unpatentable components of their innovation. The combination of both patents and secrecy means maximum protection for the firm and shows more effort has been made to protect their innovation.
The focus on patents and complementary assets. Firms with patents are obviously somewhat protected. Thus, they can license out their patents, and that licensing becomes a complementary asset, as they can become associated with certain competitors that may enhance market perception or may enhance technology used within the industry. This benefits both the local firm and the competitor.
As shown in the diagram in the text, these 4 factors of institutional environment, industry, firm, and technological context reflect when, where, or how the mechanisms are used or considered to be used.
The factors affecting patents. Institutional environment comes into consideration with legalities around patents such as rights and restriction, intellectual property laws, and the strength of the enforcement surrounding these.
Industry is analysed in order to deliberate the pros and cons on the degree of competitive intensity, the number of capable competitors, and the legal enforceability of patents.
The firm itself plays a part in strategy for or against patenting. This is seen through the scale and scope of research and development activities, the ability to manage the intellectual property patenting process, and firm size.
The factors affecting secrecy. Technology can add value to a business, and therefore firms need to decide whether it's beneficial to disclose technical information or keep it private.
Institutional environments are not as strong in delivering intellectual property protection, and therefore this can be a consideration taken into account for deciding on using secrecy or not.
Industry is to be considered in terms of structure due to the cost imposed, the degree of rivalry, the relative size of close competitors, and the destruction of suppliers, rivals, and consumers affect the expense to maintain a secret.
Technology creates complications in a competitive technology space, as it reduces a firm's ability to constrain leaked secrets and therefore add costs.
The factors affecting lead time. Industry influences lead time as changes in the nature of competition, which is based on horizontal or vertical differentiation of products, mediate the relationship between lead time and performance.
Technology is also an influence as to how knowledge is transferred, which results in fast imitations.
Complementary assets. The firm context is important in the implementation of complementary assets, as research and development benefits the complementary assets and shows the importance of them when capturing value in industries with weak appropriability.
The technological context shows the effectiveness of having complementary assets, as a company in control of them are more likely to sustain a competitive advantage. Greater levels of technology achieve greater performance from radical innovations.
Patents and secrecy. The institutional environment is considered again around the geographical legalities of the patent. In weak appropriability environments, the firm may implement patents and secrecy.
The firm's research and development in this context would increase with firm size, according to Cohen and Klepper 1996. Firms that engage in both product and process innovation are likely to use patents and secrecy.
Technological knowledge can be difficult to protect through patents. In the technological context, patents and secrecy allow for tacit and codified knowledge to support technological advantages.
Factors affecting patents and complementary assets. The context of the institutional environment is important to the value capture strategy as it varies dependent on the strength of the legal appropriability of environment. When intellectual property is strong and established firms have complementary assets, startup firms capture more value through licensing agreements.
In industries with weak patent protection, the ownership of specialized complementary assets can help other firms to capture value from their innovations. Despite a lack of patenting themselves, in industries with weaker appropriability, capital-intensive firms are likely to use patents. This patent paradox stems from increased bargaining power from owning complementary assets.
Leading on from this and into the firm context, an increase in appropriability will increase the market power. Firms that have a technological advantage can deter rivals from entering their technological area. Without specialized complementary assets, patent effectiveness influences the propensity to license a technology.
The technological complexity will have an influence on whether a firm that has complementary assets will patent or not. For firms that are able to balance specialization and close coordination, the combined value capture strategy is more effective.
We'll cut it. We were able to relate our reading back to one from week 2, which is our new venture growth reading. Determinants that help with growing new ventures are factors such as entrepreneur characteristics, resource, strategy, industry, and organizational structures and systems.
In this case, resources and strategy can be presented as patent, secrecy, lead time, complementary assets, or even their combinations. Thus, those strategies can be seen not only as value capture mechanisms, but also as tools for growing new ventures, as it secures them from the beginning and allows them to expand faster due to the rights they already have, whilst competitors will be taking their time imitating.
Sales and profits are outcomes, which can be used as a measure for growth. These outcomes stem from the implementation of the 4 mechanisms. These mechanisms enable firms to efficiently and effectively pursue growth objectives through their quality, strength, and their competencies they generate for the firm.
Alright guys, so now we're going to split you in half for an activity.